Hey, hey, Self-Care Challenge Day 19, talking about communication and the throat chakra and speaking our truth, right? Forgive me, I am going to find us and share us out. And I forgot to mute my, yeah, I think we're good. I don't think I'll pop up on there and have any screechy noises going on. So, what does it mean to you to speak your truth, right? Like sometimes I feel like we can really deep dive into what that means and what that looks like. Because, and if you've seen the videos before, right, there's differences of opinions on what it means to speak our truth. And like those moments of when we shut down or those moments when we pause, and the difference between the two, because there is a huge, actually, difference between the two, between shutting down or pausing when it comes to communication, right? Processing information or being quick to speak, because in my own personal experience anyways, when I reflect back on how I used to communicate, when I would try to talk it through without pausing, like, or without processing, and then it just came out really wonky and it just made it more of a difficult conversations. Not even like it made it many difficult conversations to have. So what works best for each of us individually makes a difference, right? Which is why we talk about speaking your truth as a person, whereas because it may not be the same method and way that everybody does, right? There she is. Hey, Iona. Iona says, "Hey, love. Thanks for joining me on my live." All that communication, right? Iona says, there is so much. And there's even the difference between what we speak and what our body says, right? So I might say, "Yeah, I'm listening." Can you see me? My arms are crossed in front of me, right? "I'm listening. I hear you. No, it's fine. I'm open to hearing what you have to say," but my body is like completely shutting you out, right? Like, there's a mixed match in that, isn't there? Or if we stare off. It just made me think of kids, right? I can remember my son even saying something to my granddaughter in those moments where it looks like she's, deer in the headlights, that glazed eye look, or staring off, or watching something else. Like, "I'm listening," which I don't know about you guys. Sometimes for me, I do tend to look around. And sometimes it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, part of the processing thing or just being aware of the space around me. Excuse me, it's changed over time though. I can't do two things at once, like to a degree. Like I could not watch TV, and I say that I'm gonna say that differently. I'm just using this as an example because I don't watch TV anymore anyway, but I could not watch TV and actually listen, fully listen to what somebody had to say. I either had to listen to what somebody was saying or I was picking up on a piece here and there, right? Kind of like a flying by. I hear the words flying by and I might catch one here or there on what you're saying because I'm really focused on something else. Like there's so many aspects to our communication and in our relationship. So today is a Relationship Freedom Friday, right? In the Soul Legacy Journal, the Spiritual Business YouTubers Network, and Soul Legacy Academy with Iona Mead. So Iona, if you just watched her live, and if not yet, I shared it on my wall even, so you can go back and look at that. Talks a lot about our relationships, right? And being true to ourselves. Iona says the actions and the words. Yeah, thank you. So even in other relationships, right? So it might not be the body language, but I might say, "Oh, okay, I'll call myself out. When I was terrified to get on camera, right? And I help people, and I was helping people. I went from helping people as a therapist, so in a sense, behind closed doors, a different way of looking at it, but it was behind closed doors because they needed their privacy as well. But shifting out of that scenery, right? Shifting out of somebody else's agency to where I didn't have to do any marketing myself because kind of all that was done for me, right? Or the place was so, or the different places I worked at were already so structured, built, well known, whatever. People found it, right? Like I didn't have to do that part. And they had people who took care of their marketing stuff too. I had to do the therapy part, right? And the clients I was assigned basically a client, and that client came to me, and we went into an office space, right, behind a closed door and worked one on one. And that's most of the way of the delivery that I help people that I was used to. In some other ways too, but I didn't really look at it the same. So trying to shift a whole business, A, starting my own spiritual business, if you will, my own Reiki business and my own I'm laughing because just for reflection, the ideas or misunderstandings or just unknowing that I had in the whole process and trying to bring it to the internet, right? Because what an amazing opportunity to get online, right? To get online, to meet more people, to be able to share and help further, help more. But then being terrified of camera because people will see me online and it's very different than to walk out to a waiting area and call someone back to work with them one on one, right? In private versus showing up like here where anybody or everybody could potentially see me and watch me and hear what I have to say, right? May or may not be helpful for those watching. I then have to market myself. Good grief. But still saying, I show up and I'm helping people or I want to help people and this is what I offer and this is what I offer and this is what I offer. But how do people actually know what I'm offering? And how do people actually know that what I'm offering is something that they want? And how do people actually know that something that whatever it is I'm offering, that they actually want to receive it from me, right? Different ballpark altogether in the way that we communicate, but still saying, "This is what I offer," and showing my actions of what I was doing, which was hiding, terrified behind avoiding a camera. I don't want to say behind a camera, but well, kind of behind it instead of in front of it where I was supposed to be, right? Very different. They weren't in alignment. But that's a way of communicating because again, people might see me online saying, "Well, you're talking about all these things. I see you saying the words, or I hear you saying the words, but I don't actually see you doing the thing, right? How are you doing the thing, and what are you actually offering, and how are you in alignment with that, and how are you open to receiving any of it if you're hiding from it and you're blocking it all and you got your arms crossed and you're being quiet and you're not communicating what you're doing, right? Very, very different. So again, just to repeat, I want to say in the actions and the words, right? They don't always align. And in other relationships too. And I'm sure we could think of many examples, right? So if you guys are watching this or you pop on a replay even and you want to pop some examples in the comments, please do. You can engage in this conversation live or replay. Be happy to come back and read them. I said, I thought of the kids, right? Like, are you actually listening to me? Or when they're like, I wasn't doing that. Yeah, dude, like I was literally watching you do it. No, because they weren't aware of it, right? Like, I'm not gonna touch that, but since I'm focused on the TV, I'm still touching it, and then when you're like, "Hey, kid, quit touching that." I'm not, but you are. Like, pay attention to what you're doing. Yes, you are. Iona says, "I have to model that for the foster kids and show them communication," and they laughed. Right? Yeah. Sometimes it's laughing like, yeah, I won't even go there. Iona says, "Thank you for the shout out." Oh, absolutely. The transition, it was, I'm going to use Iona's words, it was rude. It was rude to deal with that transition. I was not prepared at all. Like I took this blind leap of faith, literally, and kind of hit hard because I wasn't prepared. I don't regret any of it though, to be honest. Like I don't regret any of it. In the moments when your mind is, when so self-talk is included. Let me bring that in as part of the topic today. Self-talk, how we talk to ourselves literally. So how I built myself up in my head to take a blind leap of faith. And then when I took that blind leap of faith and it started to become more obvious that I had no idea what I was doing trying to build a business or how to get it online or how to quote unquote market what I was doing because marketing, feels icky did feel icky. Let me rephrase because Iona's taught me a different way, right? That's more in alignment. I'm more integrity, definitely more authentic, in my opinion. Not just my opinion, but it aligns with those values, right? And I love that authenticity. Love the authenticity and integrity in that. The service marketing. Is that the words? I mean, love words sometimes, but I know, I get the concepts and the meaning and stuff behind it. But I knew none of that, right? But what we tell ourselves. So then after that, and after I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't know what you're doing, then part of the mind wants to say, go back, right? Go back to what you were doing before because now all the negative talk sets in and the blame, shame, and guilt. And then you start to beat yourself up for the struggles, or you start to find different ways, or you start to lose some faith within yourself, or you stop believing in what you're doing, or you let the humanness take over and it just gets in your way. And, then it makes that transition even more difficult. And what I started to recently call the broke barriers, all that mind chatter that leads to a barrier and leaves us broke and stressed and all kinds of icky feelings. I won't even blurt them all out, right? It is very, very different. And it says, good grief, for real. And it says, haha, yes, you are. I'm speaking now, right? But hiding behind closed doors for quite some time. Iona says they laughed at me modeling them. They weren't aware. Exactly, right? I get what you're saying now. Yeah. When they realize it, it's almost a shock. Just like us, that doesn't really go away, right? We might get older, if you will. We are adults and we do mature. We do become more aware, but having that awareness so we can assess where we're at and align with it. I wasn't seeing it, even though like it took me hearing it from Iona and really starting to understand, her model and her teachings and how she connected all those pieces and what she was saying to really get it. And in one quick way that was really rip a band-aid off a wound. Just kidding, rip the band-aid off was in the first group that I met Iona in. And, it was that do a short video and introduce yourself. I'm like, a what? Video? What? And share it in a group? But here I am thinking I'm about to run an online business, right? Terrified to introduce myself on a video in a group. It's hilarious now because here I am showing up live every stinking day, right? Every single day. It's funny. Sorry. Yep, rude. It is. Iona says, I love that. And the integrity of serving marketing. Yes, thank you. Thank you for teaching me that because it is a very different feeling. Very different. The bandage. Yeah, for real. Rip it off. The laughs because I know Iona remembers. She remembers how terrified I was. And I like, thank goodness it was just a recording and not a live too, because can't tell you how many times I re-recorded, like how hard is it to get on and say, hi, my name is Robin and this is what I do. It was hard. Apparently it was really hard because I struggled with it really hard. Iona says exactly, right? We don't know till we know. And kind of like I've mentioned before, that Johari window, and I did not create the Johari window, but it is a cool tool that helps you see the different parts of self or lets you see. It's an awareness tool. And I keep mentioning it, so that's probably going to be in my masterclass, just saying. Bring that up more on how to utilize that and see just what we are aware of when it comes to ourselves. And again, with the self-talk, are you aware how you talk to yourself? Because I used to be extremely rude to me. I had learned from other people um, how to talk to me, which wasn't in a nice way. And then I learned how to, instead of being quote unquote so sensitive, because I didn't know, they didn't know either, to be fair. But my way of surviving that and flipping it around and not feeling it so deeply was to beat him to a punchline, right? So if I pick on me before you get a chance to, I took your power away. See that? This is all ego game, but it worked. Like it was how I survived it, right? So then it became like, oh, it really shifted. I hate to admit, but there were some positive things that came out of that, as unhealthy as that is. There really was some positive things that came out of that. It shifted the energy. Because when it did take power away from other people, it allowed me to take some power for myself. Again, in an ego humanness kind of way, but growing is a process, right? So no blame, shame, and guilt that we learn what in those moments of ego as well, right? The ego is there to help us and teach us and protect us, and that's what it was doing. So it served its purpose, and I learned from it. So again, communicating in a way of like, how can I pick on me first? You're right. Well, how can I tell on me first? How can I make this a joke first? And then if now we're doing something together, whereas before I felt like I was an underdog or people were, hovering over me in a sense. I felt small. And this was a way to help me feel more like I was on an equal playing field. Again, not healthy at all. Um, but the process was still beneficial. So it is what it is. And then getting to that space of a lot of different awareness and perspectives, actually, because in my own mind, I was then able to say, even though I'm saying this because I'm joking about it and because I'm trying to, take my own power back, I can start to see what I actually believe and don't believe about myself. So that helped open that opportunity, which is an actual benefit. And then again, it shifts away, it takes that power away from other people. So then they lose interest to continue on that same trend. So now that we're in a energetically, in a sense, we're more on an even playing field, we could actually have a conversation above and beyond and past the picking on Robin, right? Because that part got boring because it's not fun if you're just going to do it too, right? Again, not a healthy manner, but it worked and it helped me grow. To be fair, it helped me grow. But for me to see things and for them to see things, right, and what they are and how they are, I mean, it's awareness. And then what we do with that awareness. Iona says, did you re-record it? Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, yeah. I don't know how many times, quite a few. And I still almost didn't share the one I shared. Like, it was a lot. When I said terrified to record, I mean terrified. Anna says I haven't heard of that. No, Johari window or Jahari. It's either Jahari or Joe. I'll have to look it up. I will look it up. It's been a while since I've used it. It was a tool used in therapy. Iona says truth, no blame, shame, or guilt for sure. And again, as I share this story, because I know that it's not a healthy manner, I don't recommend it and suggest it. However, I'm not gonna lie about it either. I'm not gonna sugarcoat what it was, but I'm also not going to dismiss the benefit that it provided just because it was unhealthy. I would rather just say there was a benefit to it and I was able to move through it even though it was unhealthy because we learn unhealthy things, right? Hello, I talk about eating my emotions. That's not healthy either, but calling it out for what it is, seeing how we do benefit. Because, all right, here's another thing. If we don't realize, accept, and call it out and own, be accountable, that we actually enjoy doing things that aren't good for us, emotional eating, when I smoked cigarettes, right? Picking on myself, cracking jokes on myself. I laugh at that now. Like it doesn't bother me anymore. Um, Again, not healthy, not suggesting it. Just saying though. It does. I don't care. I like to laugh. I do like to laugh. Um, so I enjoy that, right? There's that enjoyment in that. What was some more? But even those three, just right off the top of my head, I did them because I enjoyed them. We do things because we enjoy them. If we try to ignore that piece, then it just leaves that opportunity for more blame, shame, and guilt. Why did I do that? That was so terrible. That was unhealthy. That was wrong. Why did I do that? Why do I do that? You do it because you like it. Just be real, right? You did it because you liked it. You did it because you didn't know another way. You did it because it became a habit, right? You did it because there was a benefit. You did it because it helped you survive. That's why. Again, it doesn't have to be healthy. It helps us survive. But now that we know, we can do something differently, right? So that's why there's no blame, shame, and guilt because we always have a new choice in every moment. And there's always a new moment. right? Uh, Like in less than a second, there's a new moment. And we will, more than likely, continue to make those same choices again. Right? We call it fumbling or stumbling when we repeat them. And still back to no blame, shame, and guilt. It's just a part of the process, right? We don't have to sit in it. We don't have to stay there. Just because we fall down doesn't mean we have to stay down. We still get up, we do it again, we try, right? Keep implementing the healthier, better things for us. It's all good. And it says, I call myself out first so nobody has anything on me. That too, right? There you go. And it says, good for you. Thank you. Wow, the video. I know it's hilarious to me now. So this is huge because really, if you could see, and I can't share with you, but maybe you experience your own to kind of get the gist of it. If you could imagine that the horror, like how terrified I literally was to get on camera and introduce myself to share in a group that had like over 1,000 people in it. You to now hopping on lives every day, sharing it on my personal page, that is a recent thing that I wasn't gonna do, but here I am, right? On Facebook, on YouTube, I'm sharing to Spotify, Rumble. Yep, that's massive change. Massive change. Iona says that's huge awareness. We do like it. We do like it. We do things because we like it. Sometimes it's hard to admit because we're like, why would I like something that's so harmful to me? And that is a great question. However, no blame, shame, and guilt because it's just how we learn to survive, really. I mean, bottom line, that it's just how we learn to survive because we didn't know what else to do. We don't know till we know. But once we can learn something else and we can do something different, and then we can be easier on ourselves, and then we can communicate with ourselves more, and then we can express ourselves better, and then we can align our actions with our words, right? And it says new moments. Absolutely. And I forget that sometimes, right? Because just time flies by and we're into the next thing and but yeah, we always have a new moment. Which, let me back up, is why, excuse me, I also like that book, The Power of Now. Again, not that it's an easy read or like every word in it, but conceptually what it speaks about and what it teaches, and that new moment piece. And that's a power of now because we do have a new choice in every single moment, right? Iona says, funny as. Well done, love. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for teaching me and supporting me and loving me all through this process because literally Iona's known me since day one. And if I didn't see a different way or didn't know a different way or haven't been learning a different way and learning how to connect all the pieces to actually show up and speak out and serve deep, as Iona says, then I would probably still be hiding behind closed doors, typing out a post on how I help people while I hide, right? Not saying I couldn't help people, not saying I wasn't helping some people, but it's that difference between, helping someone here and there versus being able to help many all at the same time, right? And to do it in a bigger way. And it's definitely evolved and expanded over time because what I knew then versus what I know now, right? Lots of growth and evolution between then and now. And that's just a couple of years, which, of course, then 2 years from now sounds like it's so far away. But now that we're here in reflection, 2 years has gone by fast, like fast. I try to hit on that. Iona says, you are so welcome. Thank you, love. While you hide. I know, right? It's so interesting to see, to reflect back and see it. Iona said, I was there once, right? I remember you sharing in the beginning too, and I was like, I remember not believing you. Like, not literally not believing you, but just being surprised by it. Like, no way, that's so hard to believe because you said you didn't like, yeah, I don't think you mind me sharing, you shared it publicly. You said you didn't like camera, and it's like, well, camera seems to love you, like a natural. But again, here we are. It's just part of our growth, right? It's part of healing. It's part of moving through the fear. And moving through the fear is literally moving through it. It's not waiting for it to subside because it doesn't on its own, right? You just kind of do it anyway. Iona says it has been fast. Yeah. 2 years has gone by very quickly. So let me be mindful of your time. I think I covered a whole lot. I feel like I just rambled. Not rambled mindlessly, but one thing led to another quickly for that got those conversations. And I think we touched on a lot of things about our communication. Remember, communication is the energy in the throat chakra, or you could say the throat chakra governs how we communicate or not. So silence is a form of communication, right? There's many ways we use silence. Some are very healthy in the ways of pausing and processing instead of allowing ego to jump in and react too quickly. And others are, that complete opposite of like shutting down and not speaking and hiding. And we don't want to do that either. So keeping that energy clear and flowing in the throat chakra so we can be assertive. Remember, and I'll be teaching that too, the different forms of communication styles, which include listening, active versus reactively. So be mindful. Homework so I don't forget, right? Didn't have to tell me this time. I remembered. It's so funny. I'm gonna come back here real quick to comments. Iona says, haha, yep, videos I will never share. That's so funny. Right? I feel that too. I had done some, yeah, and I deleted them. So there's no way. You are welcome. Iona says, thanks, love. You're welcome. Love you billions. I love you billions as well. So the homework for communication, again, we want to be aware, assess where we're at, and align with our highest self, right? So in that awareness, do that check-in. Think about for a moment or just sit with yourself for a minute and pay attention to how you talk to you. Do you have that negative mind chatter that says, be afraid, or you can't do this, or cutting you down, or stuck in blame, shame, and guilt, or, what if someone sees me, and what if someone knows this about me, and what if, because as if any human is perfect, right? Um, but is that your mind chatter? Or do you notice where you give yourself, as Iona says, ease, grace, and flow? Do you allow yourself the freedom to just feel what you're feeling, to think what you're thinking? Do you feel like you are in alignment, that you're doing what you want to do for your highest good? Um, do you give yourself, yeah, that grace is a big one, right? Do you give yourself some pep talks when you need it? Do you just give yourself permission to be like, just get centered and go, right? Just get centered and speak. Just allow. But know whatever that is for you and how you would like it to be. Do you communicate assertively, or are you passive or aggressive, or a little bit of both, right? Do you notice your body language? Do you notice that, are you open, or do you, arms crossed? And if your arms are crossed, check in. What's going on right there, right? Sometimes I cross my arms because I'm cold. So that had nothing to do with communication, and that's okay, right? But are there moments where it's like, ooh, I'm feeling that. And it makes me think of that movie, Iona. Gonna say it again, the Celestine Prophecy, right? So you probably know what part I'm thinking of when, or two parts, when it shows the colors of the energy, and the one is more like controlling and power. And there's like this feeling of, oh, and you want to block it, right? So we cross our arms. Do you notice that in some of your communication with other people, that you start to feel like that icky power control or energy vampire too, right? Where you want to block and protect yourself. Be aware of that, you guys. That awareness is for all of us, right? Iona says, haha, yay for no brain fog. We're true that, nice and clear. Iona says, the rice experiment and the words. Definitely, yes. And I just saw another, and I shared it with Iona so she knows, but for anyone who might catch the replay, I saw another video about putting rice in a container, two containers, two jars, and one, speaking that love and gratitude to, and how that rice stays white over a period of time, even in the jar. And the other jar of rice that you're speaking like hateful words to, I hate you, you're worthless, or whatever, how it begins to break down and discolor and mold. It's like so powerful, literally. So can you imagine with how we speak to ourselves and what we do to ourselves? And it also talks about the water, right? And how water forms like a crystalline, I remember the exact words it uses, but it crystallizes and it forms different patterns. And there's different patterns and shapes for those words of love and gratitude versus, right, the hate and negative type of words. We are mostly water. This physical body is mostly water. So again, when you think about the words that we say to ourselves, what are we doing to the water within our body? It is so massive. Iona says, being kind to ourselves, 1,000,000%. Grace is huge. I agree. It absolutely. Love that movie. Thank you. I know I love it. Yeah, that stood out for me, did it? Yeah, fantastic. So that homework and being aware, assessing, and aligning, check in with yourself, see how you communicate. Just pay attention and be mindful to how you talk to yourself and others, and how you hear others speak to you too. Like what's been okay, what isn't, what feels okay, what doesn't. Just open up your awareness to communication all the way around. Again, assess where you're at. Do you feel that you communicate in the ways that you want to, that's for your highest? And if not, what's an action step you can take to get in alignment with the way that you would like to communicate, right? So if you're comfortable, again, drop them in the comments or in the groups. Get on our calls. So first Tuesday of the month, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our collective energy clearing monthly Zoom call. Perfect opportunity to hop on with other empathic healers and clear out some of this energy within ourselves, which then goes collectively, right? The more we get together, the more we do it together, the more we clear collectively. And Iona's call is coming up as well. First Monday of the month it's 9 p.m. UK time. Is that right? Let me know, Iona, because I'm doing time conversion in my head right now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So that would be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for partner YouTube podcaster partnerships. If I can spit the words out, thank you. Links are in the description. Check them out. Sign up. Come have a conversation with us, and I will see you tomorrow for third eye chakra healing. Bye, guys.